Hello, welcome! In today's episode we are going to be looking at one of my favorite chess gambits after e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, d4, e takes d4, and we are going to play bishop c4 entering the Scotch Gambit. And what makes this gambit so effective and so fun to play is the fact that even if you are playing against higher rated player, even if black side knows all the theoretical moves approved by the engine, you will still be able to get nice positions with a lot of activity, with superior development, with clear attacking plans and ideas. And if not, well, this Scotch Gambit, as you will see, is packed with little tricks and details you will be able to utilize to your advantage if black will make any sort of mistakes. And I can assure you that most e4, e5 players in this position will spend most of their time studying the Ruy Lopez, maybe the Italian, maybe the Ponziani, or maybe the normal Scotch after this exchange. So on the fourth move, you'll be able to achieve a surprise advantage over your opponent. So after this short overview, let's sit back and relax, and let's dive into the theory of the Scotch Gambit. On your right hand side you can see the variation list. In the description you have timestamps, so if you are interested in any particular variation, you can just click on them and skip to the line you're interested in. So let's start the theory with some sidelines. So let's get back. In this position, black can play two not very good and not very scary looking moves. They can play knight takes d4, entering what is known as the Lolli Variation, but you're going to trade. And here, as you can see, there is no knight on c6, so your queen is very safe, and it's very hard for black to kick this queen out of the very active square. After queen f6, trying to exchange the queens, you will be able to play e5, queen b6, now exchange. As you can see, you have ruined the black pawn structure, and after bishop f4, you have all the activity in the world. This bishop is blocked, this knight is blocked, so it's very hard to develop for the black pieces, and you have a very pleasant position, of course, out of the opening. If in this position they will play d6, you can just simply play d5, getting a lot of space, c4, f5, and this position is very cool for the white pieces. You have a space advantage. This pawn center is very solid. For example, after something like knight f6, you can play this, pin those knights, and this king is kind of weak. Maybe the queen will be able to enter somewhere in the future. You will be able to develop, maybe trace those bishops, maybe short castle, maybe some launch attack on the king side like with h4. You have a lot of plans here, but this is the position you will encounter very, very rare. In 99% of the cases, you will encounter e takes d4, bishop c4. And here we have to take a look on those sidelines also. d6 here, after knight takes d4, knight f6, short castle, bishop e7, knight c3, short castle, bishop f4. You have the Italian game, some sort of the Italian, but you have a great activity here. Of course, it is not like a winning position for the white pieces or whatsoever, but you have a pleasant advantage over your opponent. Your idea will be to play, for example, rook e1, protecting this pawn, queen d2, aiming for some sacrifices maybe in the future. If they play h6, you can play h3 to protect your king. You can launch some sort of queenside major attack. So you have different ideas, and it's very hard to play for black. This bishop, of course, is less active than your on f4, so you have a small edge over your opponent. Okay, now let's take a look at the first of the three main moves. Although bishop c5 and knight f6 are going to occur way more frequently, I just skipped to the end. Here d4, e takes d4, bishop c4, and here the London defense after bishop b4. And this might happen. This is not a particular scale line also. You have very cool looking move c3, gambiting this pawn, and after d takes c3 you are going to play. You have actually two approaches. You have the more dynamic and more, let's just say, aggressive approach, and with short castle. So short castle, and c takes b2, and you are almost winning here. After bishop takes b2, you have very cool active bishops. And after something like knight f6, you're going to jump with knight g5. And look at all this pressure on the black king. After short castle, e5, kicking this knight away. And you might say, well, I cannot go there, I cannot go there, and I cannot go there, so I'll go there. But here, white is just winning after queen h5. And you have no way to stop a mate. Or after h6, you are going to get Knight takes f7 on the board, and here black is forced to lose a queen because after queen e7 you have this very beautiful mate, king h8 and knight f5 with the checkmate. So they cannot go knight e5, and in this position they have to play knight takes e5, sacking this knight, and you will have a position in which black have 3 pawns and you have a minor piece. But you have a lot of activity here. Your bishops are very active, aiming at this king. You have very active knight. You will be able to drop your queen. You will be able to develop your rook. So in this position I will prefer to play white. And they can also not accept this gambit and play knight f6, but here e5 again. The only good move in this position, believe me or not, is to play d5. If they play knight g4, you are able to sacrifice your bishop, king takes f5, knight g5, simply winning a piece, because black is unable to capture this knight because of the bishop on c1. If they play d5, which is the only move as I have mentioned, you're going to capture, exchange the queens, and get this pawn, rook g8, knight takes c3, recapturing this pawn, and this is some sort of endgame you will end up in with, rook e1, knight d6, and knight d4. You're down a pawn, but you have great activity again. This bishop will be very powerful. This pawn is a weakness actually, you will be able to target it in the future. This knight is pinned, as you can see. After something like bishop d7, you will be able to play h4, getting a lot of space on the king side, and you have just overall a better position. This is an endgame in which I would like to play with the white pieces. So this is the London defense, and if you don't like this approach with short castle, you can just simply take b takes c3 here, and after bishop a5 you can go short castle, d6, queen b3, putting a lot of pressure on this weak f7 square, queen f6, and here e5, again breaking the center up. After knight takes e5, rook e1, and look at those monumental pin. This knight on e5 is unable to move, this pawn is being attacked, and this knight is also being attacked, so this is a very difficult position, and the engine recommendation here is to play bishop b6, which is very unusual move to find, and even in this line after bishop g5 you have a clear advantage. Like again, the only move queen f5, and here you'll be able to develop your other knight, maybe to e4, and just destroy the black king in a few moves. So that's the maybe a little bit more calmer line, but as you can see you have still a lot of activity. After knight f6, again you can play e5, just getting a lot of space here. So that's the London defense. You'll encounter it in like 10%, 20% of your games, depending on the level in which you are. And after bishops, okay, I have skipped the end again. After here, of course, again the Scotch Gambit. Yes, bishop c4. The second most popular move in this position is the move bishop c5. And after c3, you have entered the Haxo Gambit. And in this position, they can either accept the sacrifice, taking the pawn, or they can decline the sacrifice, playing knight f6. Actually, taking is the most popular move, under 1500 on chess.com. And here we are winning after bishop takes f7, king takes f7, queen d5, and here after king e5, you're not going to recapture the bishop instantly. In fact, you're going to play queen h5, and after king e7, and only then you are going to recapture with check, d6, and now capture this pawn. Okay, you are equal on the material, but this pawn is very weak. You have very active knight. You are threatening some pins, if I could draw arrows. You are threatening some pins, and overall you have a lot more activity, and this should be an easy win. In fact, white wins more than 60% of games in this position. The most recommended by the engine move is knight f6 here, and here we are going to play e5, again getting a lot of space. d5 is the only move. If they play knight g4, you are able to take bishop b6, h3, kick this knight out, knight h6, trying to save this knight, d5, knight b4, knight g5, and this position is +5 for the white pieces because all the black pieces are desynchronized. They're unable to get activity. You have very two active bishops, and after something, and actually black is unable to save the queen. After f6, e takes f6, g takes f6, you are able to get a knight. So this is totally winning position. As you can see, black is unable to castle. You are going to castle, play rook e1 and checkmate them in few moves. So after knight f6, e5, they have to play d5. Again, that d5 is the correct move. But here after bishop b5, beating this knight, knight e4, again the only move. C takes d4, bishop b4, trading this bishops, and knight b takes d2. You're after short castle, you're going to ruin their pawn structures. As you can see, double pawns on c file. Short castle, rook e8, and queen c2. And here we are targeting the weakness. You are threatening to gain a pawn here. And again, you have a very pleasant activity. It's only plus 0.6 of course, but it will soon be evaluated better by the stockfish, because black will have to play very unusual moves like rook b8, just completely not worrying about this move because they're able to take this pawn, and after this they have like bishop b7, and this is the best line, and I can assure you nobody will find it. So they will play, maybe they will retreat the knight, but here we are just not here, of course. Actually, they have nowhere to retreat the knight, so they will have to like play maybe f6 in order to try to take this pawn. But here are just simply getting this pawn, putting a lot of pressure. Yeah, and you have absolutely winning position. So this is the line after the knight f6. And let's move to the main line, knight f6, the Dubois Reti defense. And this is known as the most, I just say, safe approach to the Scotch Gambit. Here we are going to play e5, again striking the center, d5. Here knight g4 is not losing, but it's very dangerous line, because after short castle, knight g takes e5, knight takes e5, knight takes e5, you have rook e1. So this is a trick in which black is losing. So they will have to play, they cannot take this pawn, and here they have to play something like bishop e7, rook e1, again pinning, creating some sort of pinning threats. d6 is a crucial move here, take, and here after knight takes d4, this is about unequal, but again you have a space advantage, you have an activity advantage. After short castle you are able to kick this knight out, and again after something like knight f6, you are able to develop your knight, and develop your bishop, play queen d2, and you have just a lot more activity. And the phrase "a lot of more activity" in this episode is very popular, but it just shows how cool and cruel sometimes the Scotch Gambit might be if black doesn't know what they're doing. And here the only good move and the main line is d5. You are going to play bishop b4, bishop b5. This might look similar to the previous line after bishop c5, but again bishop c5 has not been played yet. So knight e4, knight takes d4, and here 2 lines. They can play bishop c5, but this is not a transposition. You have to play bishop e3, protecting the knight, short castle, and again you are going to ruin their pawn structures, trade the knights, and take this pawn. And this position is plus 0.2 for the white side, but I mean you're a pawn up. Actually you are 2 pawns up. You have a lot of activity, and there are some engine lines to like save the draw after queen e7, short castle, rook d8, queen f3, getting back this pawn, or maybe getting this pawn. But again, this position is very dangerous. You are threatening knight d5, and really the chance that black is well theoretically prepared after the move 7 in such not popular opening is very, very small. If bishop d7, which is considered the main line, you are going to play bishop c6, again ruining the pawn structure. So as you can see, the motifs are very predictable and repetitive. They are, okay, I forgot how to pronounce it correctly, but many ideas are often the same in many lines of the Scotch Gambit. B takes c3, and here you are going to again ruin the pawn structure. Double pawns on the c file is this is a huge weakness for the black side. Short castle, bishop c5, knight d2, aiming to trade this passive knight for the active knight. Knight takes d2, bishop takes d2, short castle, queen f3, and this is the end position. And you are going to develop both of your rooks to the center. You're going to play c3, you're going to play h3, and maybe create some sort of threats after bishop f4. You can also maneuver your queen here. You have a lot of ideas. This position is just pleasant for the white pieces to play. So that's all, I think. I hope you liked this video. If so, please leave a like, comment and subscribe, and see you in the next one. Bye!